I think we all believe we're really at an inflection point for change in biodiversity, although as Laurie said, it has lagged far behind the carbon space. But before we kind of dive into these more detailed events, trends, challenges, and opportunities, I thought it might be useful to just lay the foundation and make sure we're all on the same page when we're talking about biodiversity. What does it even mean? How is it different from climate change? And why is it important, right? I think that is something that a lot of people are still grappling with when they're not in the day-to-day space. I think the common conception of biodiversity is usually at the species level, right? People think about the variability of life. They think about it in the context of maybe IUCN threatened species lists. But it's important to remember that biodiversity is a multi-level ecological concept that also encompasses genetic diversity, ecosystem diversity, behavioral diversity. And I think it's important to think in this multi-level way, because each level is a really important component and factor of ecosystem health and resilience, the resilience of nature against ecosystem collapse. And it's important to look beyond our carbon tunnel vision, because carbon is really, it's a great metric for maybe markets, and it's easier to measure and manage at the moment, but it's not a sufficient metric of measuring a well-functioning ecosystem that can stand up to collapse. So, I guess maybe to give a more concrete example, right? With all the excitement in the carbon markets, I think we're seeing, for example, more and more monoculture timber kind of plantation projects coming up, because they're great ways to sequester more carbon, capture more carbon. But I think we're concerned that there are certain challenges, maybe is the right word, in this space when you select for maybe growth as a factor to increase biomass at a more rapid rate. You may be inadvertently also selecting for other genes that may lead to poor resilience against other threats like climate change, like disease, etc. So that's just one reason why it's important to expand beyond the carbon tunnel vision. Another reason is that, climate change is just one of the factors that is threatening biodiversity. I think there are other actually very important factors and threats that are currently under-addressed. For example, invasive species that maybe outcompete native species, that's a huge issue, pollution, and land use change, right? So I think these are some of the other factors that we need to think about beyond climate change. And then I suppose, beyond this resilience issue or resilience kind of rationale, I think biodiversity provides a host of other really crucial ecosystem services, such as, the environmental regulation services, like water and carbon regulation, but also it provides a lot of great recreational value, mental health value, as well as cultural services and cultural values, right? I think it's also a source of very important medicines and things like that. So